There's something called Martech's law. Think of technology as a hockey stick. It's going up, it's changing quickly. Think of dentistry and you and I working for the dentist as a logarithmic line. Why am I going over all this? If we don't adapt, if we don't change, someone else is going to change and they're going to disrupt us. And we will lose our job, not because of the AI, but indirectly they're using the AI and they're becoming more efficient. And now we're not. What I would introduce is we need to educate our dental team and say, hey, this is how we need to do dentistry now. And we were trained to do it this way, but if we keep doing it this way, we're going to be disrupted. If we want to keep our jobs, we need a shift. I call it the great shift. Today I practice this way. Because of AI, I'm going to have to shift, and now I'm going to have to practice this way. And if we don't learn how to shift, we'll be out.
AI isn't just changing dentistry, it's completely redefining it. Tune into Bite-sized Podcast, the dental AI and tech podcast, and stay ahead of the curve.
Welcome back to another episode of Bite-sized Podcast. We have been told that AI in healthcare is all about chatbots and smart scheduling and faster documentation, softwares that are kind of coming into the industry. But my guest today has been operating at a totally different, completely different level. And what he's building suggests that the infrastructure that most healthcare providers are ignoring isn't even on the planet. It's not even here on the planet. It's somewhere in space. So Dr. Harvey Castro, thanks for coming on. Dr. Castro is an emergency medical physician with over 2 decades of frontline clinical experience and a track record as a serial entrepreneur who built a healthcare system from the ground up with more than 400 employees. He was the first person in the world to write a book on using ChatGPT in healthcare and has delivered 5 TEDx talks, congratulations on that, on AI in medicine. And currently he serves as the chief AI officer at Phantom Space Corporation, a company that's building a full vertical stack of space infrastructure from launch to rockets to modular satellites and orbital data centers. And Harvey sits at the intersection of where I've never met anybody and talked to anybody that's kind of sits at the place of where you sit in this whole AI space thing, right? Which we'll get into, but he's a practicing physician. He's an AI architect and a space industry executive. He's also going to be speaking at the London Summit, which it's going to be in June. It's the Dental and Medical AI Summit in London. And I'm excited to meet you there. I'll be coming out as well. So welcome to the podcast, Harvey. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor, and I'm really excited about this episode. So let's do it.
Cool. All right, let's do it. Well, just so, because we're talking mostly to dentists in this podcast, and since you're a medical professional, but not in dentistry, can you just give us a little bit of background on your history, maybe, starting as a medical professional and kind of some of these companies that you've started?
Yeah. Well, I don't think you know this. I don't know how many people do. I was in the U.S. Army, and I actually was a dental assistant. And I did that for many years for our country. Yes. So at one point, I almost became they had a dentistry with doctor, like an MBA, DDS to do an oral surgery type of platform, but I ended up doing emergency medicine. So big picture, emergency medicine for about 20 years. Throughout my little career, I've been really blessed. I was able to create a company called Trusted ERs. And we, like you said, it was 400 employees. I had my own billing, staffing, hospitals, ERs, urgent cares, marketing here. And I was able to create a culture of how I felt healthcare should be delivered. And I created it. And I was really excited. Unfortunately, I sold it and moved on to working on this thing called ChatGPT in healthcare. In 22, I was working on the computer and ChatGPT popped up. It literally had just been released. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to change healthcare. And it was really just a public service announcement, but that public service announcement was a book. And fast forward, it got me in front of the Ministry of Health of Singapore. I'm an advisor for them. It got me in front of the Texas Medical Association, advisor for them. And then Phantom Space is the latest. They were really progressive. I met with the CEO. He said, Harvey, AI is going to be the next thing. Can you leverage AI and help our company become more efficient? And so I have done that. And then now this conversation on how can we leverage space with healthcare on this planet?
That's freaking wild. It's a great story, but your journey is definitely pretty interesting for sure. When you were running, what was it? What was the
Trusted
company?
ER, Trusted Emergency
Trusted ER.
Rooms, yeah.
When you were running Trusted ER, you know, running an organization like that while you're also, you know, practicing medicine and whatnot. What did you learn in terms of like managing people that relates to kind of like a more intimate, like where you're running 400 people and you're trying to guide this company? What did you learn with that experience that helped influence how you manage your practice?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, at the end of the day, no matter what accolades we have, no matter what degrees we have, what we really want is that true person. And I try to be the simple man. Case in point, I would go into some of the hospitals that I own and I'd walk in and I would notice the bathroom was not clean. And I wouldn't say anything. I would go get the cleaning supplies. They would see me there cleaning the bathroom. And they're like, oh my God, the CEO of the company, the founder of this company is cleaning a bathroom. Crap.
Yeah.
I need to up my game. But then it also became a very real person. They're like, man, Harvey, I would think you wouldn't be doing any of that, but you are real. So I created this culture. So my lesson was create a culture of what you want and what you want to believe in. And that's what I did. And it took off.
That's cool. Like, I remember a story of a good friend of mine who, and I can't remember the gentleman, but it was a massive finance company, hundreds of billions of dollars under management. And the owner, the CEO had purchased and bought this amazing building and just dressed it to the nines. And he was walking down the hall one day and he saw a little piece of paper on the floor and he picked it up, and my buddy was with him, right? And he got really frustrated. He said, you know, I have built this company. I've put hundreds of millions of dollars into this, and I need everybody to feel like they own it, right? That they're part of this, and dropping a piece of paper on the ground or, you know, a paper clip or whatever it was kind of like a little bit of a slap to his face. So he would spend time doing kind of that same thing. He would spend time doing the janitorial work. And very quickly, everybody in the company like snapped into like alignment. You know what I mean? Seeing a CEO do something like that. I get it. It creates a level of transparency, but it also is, you know, teach by example kind of thing. So, exactly. And in a medical practice where you're actually doing work, how did you take that same kind of philosophy and move it into like not just running a company with 400 people, but how do you do that when you're working with patients or your immediate team?
Yeah, I'm really big on culture. And like you said, if the top is going to do it, then everybody else will follow. But if the top won't do it, then why would I do it? And so with that same approach in healthcare, I really wanted to bring that personalized care, that touch from a human being instead of that cold wall or now AI kind of maybe that distance. And so I really try to change the culture around the emergency room to break the rules in a way like, here's the standard way of doing things. But I'm like, why is this the standard way? Can we do it a better way that's more human? So quick example, we had a child that broke their ankle, and the normal ER would bring them to the triage, see what's wrong with them, then take them into a room, wait for the doctor to see them, give them maybe some medicine, but wait till the doctor comes to give them medicine, and then go to the x-ray, and then come back. What I did, I said, you know what, why are we doing this? No, we're going to take that child, go straight to the x-ray. We're going to register the kid at x-ray. We're going to have the doctor, the nurse, everybody see it. In fact, we'll medicate the patient, get the x-ray. And you know what? It is broken. We're going to go ahead and cast it and put a splint in the x-ray room. And the parents were like, wow, what an amazing service. You didn't move us around. You didn't have to ask the same questions to the 5 different people. Like it was just one time. And then to up the game even more, I even called the specialist while she was in the x-ray room. Because I'm like, yeah, this is broken. Can you get her to see her? And then literally when I went in there, I said, it's broken. Here's this cast. Here's the doctor. He's a friend of mine. He's going to see you later to the at-3. Done.
Yeah.
You know?
Just change the model a little bit. Yeah. To make the patient experience more fluid. So I love that. Let's talk about this ChatGPT thing, okay? Because when ChatGPT came out and I saw it, I could see it solved a lot of problems from a marketing perspective, okay? And totally has kind of revolutionized the way that we do business and offer services to our dental clients. So when you saw ChatGPT, what was that first aha moment that you were like, okay, this can solve this problem? And what was that problem that you could see?
Yeah, it's a good one. Honestly, my aha moment was at that point just simple connectivity. In that,
Okay.
as an ER doctor, I have to speak your language. And
Mhm.
let's just say physically, say you spoke a foreign language. And if I don't
Okay.
speak it, I can't give you the connection. But there's also the relatability. If you're from the East Coast and I'm here in Dallas, Texas, and I use Dallas examples, there's a weirdness because you're like from the East Coast. And you're like, yeah, I don't really connect with those kind of associations, but I know what he's saying. But if I leverage AI to understand that culture, that region, the words, the colloquial ways of saying things, and I
Yeah.
relate it to you, now, believe it or not, your healthcare experience is better. But more importantly, you're going to comply. You're going to understand what I'm saying to another level. And I really think that small change is going to increase your healthcare. So when I saw AI, I'm like, wow, this is a perfect translator, not just literally another language, but cultural.
So the book that you wrote, was it talking about this in your book? Is this kind of what you focused on?
Well, what's funny is, it's, you know how like they say, if you have a near death experience or like your life flashes in front of you.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the same thing happened to me as I'm looking at ChatGPT. I'm like, oh my gosh, medical school, residency, my first business, I thought, oh my gosh, if I had AI back then, I would have killed it. Research, the whole thing. So I
Mhm.
thought, you know what? Let me write a book on all the different ways and how can we use it. And believe it or not, at the time, nobody was like, what? How would you do that? Like, that doesn't make
Mhm.
sense. Now it's like, oh yeah, of course. But back then, it was like a thing.
What's the name of your book?
It's called ChatGPT and Healthcare, but I'm literally writing the second edition, and my goal is to submit it to the publisher by the summer so that we could have it out by the winter.
Well, I'm gonna
So
put
the
a
second
link in the
edition.
I'm gonna put a
Yeah,
link in the description to get your book. Is the best
thank you.
place to go get it on Amazon?
Yeah, you literally type in Harvey Castro on Amazon, and I know it sounds
Okay.
crazy. There's 27 books on it from A to Z. I wrote books on how to use AI to solve crime, varying
Mm,
to habits, to being successful, but then obviously AI in healthcare. So a bunch of
okay.
books.
All right, cool. Well, I will put that link in. I hope people will go and check it out and uh,
Thank you.
and use it. So, um, I want to jump to another kind of off topic thing. I went through your LinkedIn and I looked at some of the posts that you've recently put out and read through all the comments and so forth. And there was one in there that you were talking about preventative medicine. I think it's
Mm.
probably posted maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and or reactive medicine. I can't remember
Yeah,
exactly
yeah,
the
it
language
is.
that
It's
you used.
reactive versus proactive. But yeah, yeah.
Okay, so can you describe basic? Because I want to talk about this. I want to kind of dig a little deeper on
Yeah.
how AI can significantly help in reactive or proactive dentistry or
Yeah. Yeah. Let's
medicine.
talk about it. No, this
So
is,
tell me about the post that you did.
yeah, this is really big in my heart. I have one of my TED Talks. I actually threw it in there because it was so important to me. So the premise is this: reactive medicine is where we live today. Most men, including me, we don't go into the shop until something's broken, right? So do we
Yeah,
go
yeah.
get our preventative care? A lot of men don't, just in
Don't.
general.
Yeah, they don't.
Women tend to do it, and maybe that's one of the reasons they live longer. So my idea was, if you don't go in to the doctor until something's wrong, then maybe it's too late by the time, depending what that thing is
Yeah.
wrong. Then I thought, we have AI, we have wearables, we have data coming in. What if
Hmm.
we're leveraging this data to let you know, believe it or not, this is a thing. My voice, we could put it into an AI algorithm and it'll tell you if I'm a pre-diabetic. Just my voice. This feed that's coming through, yes. This feed that's coming through
What
will
is
tell
it
me
picking
where
up
my
on?
it's
How
the
does that
geekiness.
happen?
It's doing a sine wave, and then it's catching the amplitude, and it's able to determine, depending on your voice, the amplitude changes, and then
Wow.
extract what your sugar averages are. Crazy.
That's crazy.
And so then I thought, if we can start implementing this technology, we can start seeing things before they happen and predict a heart attack and say, hey, buddy, you're about to get a heart attack in 5 years, and here's the parameters, and here's what we're seeing. You're like, what, you can detect that? I'm like, yes. Then I'm hoping that if I give you a 5 years heads up, you're like, you know what? I don't want a heart attack. Let me work
I
on
should stop
X, Y,
eating so
Z.
much red meat, or let's go exercise or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I'll give you a real example. Unfortunately, my father died when I was in my early 20s of a heart attack. Literally had a heart attack and died. Unfortunately, he had no warning signs. My mother, on the other side, she's an ultrasound tech, was checking herself, and she found a nodule on her thyroid. And then that was a primary cancer, and she got treated, and she's alive like 30 years later. And that's a really good example. Like, one caught it really early. The other one, there were no really warning signs. And even if he had some, he wouldn't have gone to the doctor until later. And unfortunately, he died. And so that's a real example of how can we leverage AI to take us to that next level.
So how are you doing that? So how are you leveraging AI from conversations? Are you just analyzing data across tens of thousands of patients and seeing patterns, or like, how is it happen? How would you put this together?
Yeah, no, good question. So right now it's not FDA approved. It's not there yet, but I am in conversation with some major companies that are in charge of healthcare to see how can we use this type of technology for their healthcare systems. How can we do it? That's literally when I'm out there. I'm called, quote unquote, Dr. GPT, because I'm out there teaching hospitals, physicians, the different tools. One that I'm pushing is the predictive analytics, just the different ways that AI can see things in the future and help your patient. A simple example is my wearables. This information's coming in and telling me how much I sleep, my heart rate, and I'm using that information.
Is that an Oura ring?
Yes, there's an Oura ring too, my friend. And so I literally have an MVP that I'm hoping to release by the early summer of a product that takes all that information to make us aware of how our health is coming along. And I see this technology really catching things early.
So how do you do that and stay HIPAA compliant? Because basically, at least correct me if I'm
you're
wrong,
right.
but
No, you're
basically
right.
you're aggregating all this data from wearables, information inside of the healthcare system, whatever, and you're bringing it in and having it analyzed. They kind of do this in dentistry with X-rays, right?
Yes.
You can run an X-ray, you can check and see. The AI can analyze the X-rays. It sees like 500 shades of gray versus 30 what a human can see, and it can recognize caries that the doctor may miss. So I'm thinking about this in the same way that like Pearl, which is a company that does this in dentistry, would do it. So you're aggregating all this data. How do you stay HIPAA compliant? Because as the AI analyzes it, you're now looking at data for patient A to inform patient B. So where does, I don't know if there's any precedent on how to set that up.
Yeah, so there's different levels to this. Obviously, wellness is one that can be done, and the way it's spoken, it can be created. That's why we have the Aura app, the Whoop, and Apple Watch. To they know how to walk those lines. Okay. On the physician side, if you influence the physician to make a medical diagnosis, then that could be considered a medical device that you need to go get FDA approval. So you have to really walk very carefully how you're doing this. If you don't navigate those waters, then the FDA will come after you. That's really interesting. For me personally, I created my own digital twin. Since I'm a physician and it's my own data, and I've created a model where it's private, it's HIPAA compliant for myself, all that good stuff. But more importantly, I'm taking that data, I'm using AI to help me, but then as a doctor, I'm able to look and say, oh, wait, this is hallucinating. Okay, this is good. And then I'm able to see things and prompt it a certain way that most people, even doctors, wouldn't even think to do it because A, they don't know AI, or they know medicine, but they never thought AI could do that. And so
Right.
I'm able to create a product for myself, which is kind of nice.
So as you've built this for your own yourself, or
Health.
are
Yeah.
you actually, are you doing it
I'm
with
going to
your
monetize
particular
it and I'm going
patients?
to, yeah, right now I'm using it for myself. And then now when it's everybody else, I got to be careful because now it's regulation, FDA, everything
Right.
else. So there's different layers of what I can do and what I cannot. And there's different stages. So stage one is going to be to the public, something uh, general that's wellness. Then the next level is going to be more for physicians. And later, as I start to grow, my goal is to get it FDA approved and then create that a product. Like
Couldn't you
another
just go to
product,
say,
another level.
okay, so let's just use the Aura ring as an example, right? Could you not just go to Aura and say, I want to license your data and pull it in, or does that
Yeah,
become an FDA problem?
no, I could do some of that. There's just different layers. I'm limited by my data. And so if Aura is only collecting 5 parameters and I really want 200 parameters, then that's only part
Right.
of the solution.
Okay. I mean, do you see a day when like people just take a little implant in their hand and it just reads everything and feeds it to a dentist, or not a dentist, but a medical professional, and they run it through AI and it just tells us when we're going to die?
Honestly, yeah, we joke, but I do see that happening in our lifespan. Will it happen here in the States? Maybe it'll be more the, Dubai, one of those areas that
Yeah.
they're
Little
really looking at
less
this.
regulation. Yeah.
Yeah,
Less
and then
regulation.
the reason I picked on Dubai is the population is a little bit more uniform as opposed to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
It's a up down approach where if the top wants X, it's gonna happen for the whole country.
Okay. They can implement it.
They could do it right away. As opposed to here, it's like, well, lobbyist group A and the Democrats in peril, or now it's the Republicans. Okay, we need a shift. So it just moves a lot. Whereas there, it's like, no, here's how it's going to go down. This is the mandate and it's going to happen. So it's just different. And because of that, they can really push AI in healthcare and do things that we can't.
Do you have an MVP of this, like a minimum viable
Yes,
product where you've
I
actually
do.
seen the data coming out that's really
Yeah.
helpful, that's actually working?
Mhm.
Have you?
Yeah, it's exciting. My problem is culture, laws, because I
Yeah.
wish I could just push it out, but I was like, well, I got to get FDA approved. I got to get funding. Okay, and so I'm able to do it. I'm literally I had a meeting yesterday actually with someone that we're going to sit down and we've tiered out what can be done now and what will require
Mhm.
more FDA approval or things. So it's kind of fun. I really love it
No, it's
because at the end
super
of the day, I'm
cool.
helping people. Yeah.
There's been chatter online for the last several years about this being the future of medicine. Is that you have predictive models where AI is informed of data sets, right? And then is proactive in potentially recognizing opportunities. It's what I think consumers want. It's what I would want. Like if I could wear a wearable, or I could give you my Aura Ring data, or put a little freaking implant in me and it just feeds everything in my blood and my heart rate and all that kind of stuff. I would love it. I'd pay for it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I imagine that regulation is just a pain in the ass. So good luck. You're on the
Yeah.
forefront of trying to make that happen. Sounds like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, there's very few people on the planet that know AI, that know medicine, that know healthcare as a CEO of a healthcare company
mhm.
and have that entrepreneur spirit to put it together and say, okay, this is a problem that we have that didn't happen overnight, that took decades to do. We
Right.
got to fix it a little differently. So I really feel like AI is the great equalizer. It's going to help do things differently. It's going to bring the cost down. And I really think it's going to give us universal access for the entire planet, not just here in the States.
Yeah. I love it. All right. I want to switch gears and I want to talk about Phantom. Okay. So tell us a little bit about what Phantom does, so that we kind of understand and kind of like give us a little bit of a description in the relationship to maybe other people like Musk launching rockets so that we kind of understand where you guys fit?
Yeah. So I feel really blessed. I never thought in a million years I'd be working for a space company and that I'd be asked to go to space one day. It just blows my mind. Like, never thought that would even be a thing. Every kid in us has always thought, oh, I
Everybody
want
wants
to
to go to the
moon.
moon.
Yes. And so who Phantom is, I'm really blessed. It's the number 2 and 4 employee to SpaceX. Literally, Elon Musk called Jim Cantrell and said, hey, I want to start a space company. And they got together. They
Who's
literally
Jim Cantrell?
He's
I don't know
the
who Jim
CEO
Cantrell is.
of Phantom Space. He's the guy who started the company that I work for.
But he started with Musk. Did he work
Yes.
for Musk or with Musk?
Yeah.
At one
Musk
point?
asked him to create Phantom Space. I mean, not Phantom Space, SpaceX, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Literally. So he was, Jim was the number, he brought in Chris Thompson. He was the rocket engineer. Number 3 employee was Elon Musk. And number 4 was Jim Cantrell. And they literally created the rockets.
Built that company. Got it.
That company.
Okay.
And so fast forward, these individuals decided we are going to create our own rocket company. And what I thought was brilliant is they have the full step. Your rate limiting step to go to space is you need a rocket. But if you don't have a launching pad, you're going to have a hard time with your rocket because where are you going to launch it? So they secured launching pads. They're less than 2 years away from having the rockets. I didn't know this. It's like a 9-year process to get a functioning rocket. And so they're 2 years shy from it. The next part is they have their own satellites. They're already selling it, moving it. And then they had the foresight to get a patent for this thing called data centers in space. So they have the full step. And so the part that you're like, how did he compare to Elon? Think of it as different sizes. Elon, as you see these big rockets right now, when they go up, they're taking many, many satellites and it's a big cargo. And you got to remember his goal also is to go to Mars. So he needs a big truck to get there because he's got a lot of stuff to take there. We're not looking to go to Mars. We're looking at how can we have small, special rockets to take you where you need to. So example, I'm in Dallas. Where are you by chance?
I'm in Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City. So let's just pretend you and I were going to start a company together and we needed a rocket to cover Dallas and Utah. But we decided to go with Elon Musk and he shot the rocket and he threw us in an orbit that doesn't serve this location. Well, that is a problem.
Put a satellite
up there.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
And so the problem is those satellites only have so much energy. And so think of it after when it runs out of energy or doesn't have so much, it's got to come back to, it's going to crash or you got to burn it up. And so now the lifespan that you spent all the millions of dollars to get it up there has less because they dropped us off in the wrong spot. The difference between us is we literally say, no, let's throw this rocket exactly to the orbit that will cover Dallas and will cover Utah. That way we're not wasting any time and money. Because think about it, if we went to the wrong place, we got to take time to get there. That time is money. Right. But if we're there, now we're in the same orbit. And from an efficiency point of view, if you and I had to go in business and try to get a rocket up, we would have to find a rocket. We would have to find a rocket day to talk to Elon Musk and say, hey, what's your waiting list? And he's like, okay, it's 4 years. Or like, okay, 4 years. And then the next part is we need to go find the satellite, right? We got to go find it. And then we got to find the engineer to do all 3. The nice thing of us is we have the full stack. We do all of it.
Okay, so one-stop shop, the whole thing. Scaled, the scalability is... So not only the waiting list, I mean, outside of like Musk and you guys, I mean, there's a lot of competition in this industry?
It's not many people out there that can do it. And that's a blessing in a way because... if everybody could have their own rockets, then the barrier to get into that market would be easy. And it's pros and cons. From a military point of view, if we have a certain technology, we can leverage it, then it gives us an advantage, as we can see right now with Iran and the US, not to go into politics, but being able to leverage the satellites and the technology,
All right. So I can come to Phantom with probably a sizable check, and I can launch my satellite. Okay. I'm a doctor. I'm like you. why the hell am I launching a satellite? Like, what's the point? How does a satellite and data centers help with healthcare?
Good question. There's so many levels to this, but let's just use your example. We're physicians and we need help. Let's just say we have a patient, and being able to access our patient is so important. Remember, we're going into the digital age. We're able to do telemedicine now with these cameras.
Yeah.
But if you, my friend, are at the top of a mountain and you're trying to call me, there's no cell phone coverage. So think of it as if I have the connectivity that allows me and you to be connected no matter where you are on the planet, unless you're like in a submarine, then maybe that changes things. But assuming you're anywhere in the mountains, in the airplane, on a sailboat, I could be your doctor. Now, let's pretend that these wearables that you're using, the Aura Ray, what if I can connect this eventually, is an idea to connect these devices straight to the satellite. And what if I can now tell you, hey, buddy, I noticed that your heart rate is dropping and you normally don't run at that level. I think you need to come closer to a hospital because you're too far away. And I feel like based on AI and the parameters that you're going to have something happen. So again, now it's becoming more proactive. Now I'm seeing things, I'm leveraging technology and I'm helping you. And then you as a provider, if you're a physician, you're able to access your patients 24/7, where they're at, help them, and you're available. And then and then on the data side, that information, that computer is on the satellite. Think of it as in time. If I'm wearing a heart monitor, it's many seconds that goes to on land and then goes to the side and then comes back. If I can efficiently get to the satellite and get back and then get to you, that time
You
can make
cut
a huge
down,
difference.
cut down on the communication flow, right? What do the data centers do? Why are you putting data centers in space? Why can't the data centers be on Earth?
No, that's such a good question. There's different layers to this. From an environmental point of view, if you have all these data centers and it's taking up all this water, you're using up water, using resources. If these AI
That's to cool the data centers?
To cool
Is
them
that what you
down.
mean, to cool them? Okay.
Yeah, to cool them down. So if we have them in space, we have other problems, but we're not having to do that. If we're also needing, here's a good example. I'm in Dallas, Texas, and I just got back from Abilene, Texas, and I got to see from a distance the data centers that they're building there. And I thought, why are they putting them out here in the middle of nowhere? Well, number one, they have all this gas there. Number two, they have all the sun. And so now they have a lot of energy and power to power these things. But unfortunately, if another country or terrorist group wanted to hurt us, they would blow that thing up. And now they're crippling us because we're using this, as we know now, for our security. But
national security stuff. Right.
National security stuff. But if I could put this stuff out in space and it's like a virus, there's just a bunch of them and you don't know where this information is coming from because there's just all these satellites and you want to shoot one down. Well, sure, shoot one or two down, but there's another 100 or thousands more everywhere else and they are all sharing information. So it's almost like you'd have to shoot them all down to be able to make it accomplish, as opposed to it'd be easier just to blow up the data center in Texas, as opposed to going up there.
So we solve a problem of connectivity, the capability
security,
of reaching people anywhere, security. Are there any, outside of an AI analyzing Oura Ring data or whatever kind of data and doing predictive analytics for proactive healthcare, is there any other benefit to having a satellite in space to give healthcare professionals information on what's going on? I mean, is there anything else you can think of?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'll give you a made up example, but this is something that could easily be done. You have a satellite flying over Africa and that satellite's able to pick up that there's more mosquitoes about in that region. And as a result, we're going to see more malaria. And as a result, we can notify all the local pharmacies and saying, hey, we need to start hitting our population prophylactically because we're about to see a huge rise in malaria. That's a quick example of how we're leveraging information in the sky, that this data is being collected in the sky, and in real time, those data centers analyzing that information, and then in real time, going back to Earth and saying, hey, pharmacies, this is what's going on. The supply chain needs X, Y, and Z to make sure that this doesn't happen in healthcare. So imagine
a satellite can see a mosquito. A satellite can
the
see a
population
mosquito.
of it. Yeah. The resolution of these satellites are getting ridiculous.
Really?
Like to the point you can see a license plates if you want.
Holy cow. That's a great example. That's, wow. Okay. So Phantom, you're the AI director. Is that your title there?
AI chief
AI
officer for
director?
the company.
Okay. So in terms of this full stack kind of thing and thinking about like the communication issues, what are some of the problems you're trying to solve in this full stack satellite rocket company that you're trying to solve with AI? Like, can you, without being, you don't give us any proprietary information, but I'm just
Yeah.
curious about what your role is exactly in trying to improve the systems.
Yeah. So I see it as like short term, middle term, and long term. Short term, I'm helping the C-suite, the company, look at AI and how to leverage this for their daily tasks.
Okay.
If we are doing an analysis on our competitor, I'm able to create the tools to look at these competitions and see how we can leverage and making the company very efficient. And so that's short term. Middle term, I'm looking, because of our information has to do with national security, some of the data that we're using, we cannot share with any country or anybody else because, again, this is something that's rocket technology and our government has it protected. So I can't just use ChatGPT, or there's some things that we can't do. So my second job will be creating an internal process of AI that we will host and create inside our walls.
Okay.
So that we can have it for our security. So it's not like out where somebody can just hack us. It's like inside, and we're using AI internally. Long term, I am wearing my physician hat to say, okay, when we go to space, I'll be the space doctor that goes with them to space. Second, I'm looking at healthcare, like this application that we just mentioned, but there's also some healthcare vertical of ideas that I have that I know we can leverage. This is not one, but just as an example, there's medications that can be built in space. Because of the gravity, there's no gravity there. The molecules form differently. And so we could develop medications differently and discover molecules up there that we can't hear. And so that would be one example of something that I could tell the company, hey, let's start creating these in space, and this is how it's done. And I could walk down that path.
That's pretty wild and exciting.
Yes.
Do you find that you like just play really well in this creative kind of like space? Takes a certain type of an individual to like step into the dark and kind of say, oh, okay, what's out here? What can we do with this? A lot of people aren't like that.
Well, I really appreciate you saying that, because I do see a couple of things. I purposely would hire people that didn't go to school for that, because I felt that if they had a good core in them, they could be creative like a child and see things. And I feel like that's what I bring to the company. I'm very good at seeing something and saying, wait a second, I see the discipline in this other vertical. Let's bring that into space and let's apply it. And I'm really good at seeing things that other people can't, and then implementing and showing how to implement and creating. And so right now, the CEO and I are looking at some patent stuff that I've come up with, and I'm excited. I'm going to have some patents now from some of the ideas that I've had to implement AI healthcare in space. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. So you guys are building kind of like this full stack, independent kind of like vertically aligned system, and you're going to be building AI capabilities into the system that are proprietary and kind of locked off from potential hacking or HIPAA compliance issues or whatever it might be. So doing it that way gives you an advantage when the end product is fully developed, but it takes longer to do that, right? To build something full stack, rather than going and renting Musk's platform, rather than build your own platforms. So what do you see? So this is a long play for you guys. This is a long play.
It is, but again, going back to that short, middle, long, sure, we already have satellites that we're selling. So we are making money there.
Are you not launching them yet, though?
No, but we're having to do what you're saying. We haven't go on someone else's ride share and get up there. And then, but
Gotcha.
the other thing is, if you need a satellite, we sell you the satellite and then you pick out who you want to go up with, but we're just building it for you. But on the long-term play, there is a whole ways of doing this. I'm really excited. I think the thing that pushed me over the edge is when I saw they got granted the patent to do data centers in space. This was in 24. I thought, oh my gosh, these guys are sitting on gold. I was like, man, the future is going to be data centers in space. What a good idea that they thought that through. And then the last couple of months, everybody's talking about it. And I'm like, man, these guys got it back in 24.
Yeah. That's the whole data centers in space. I mean, the cooling for data centers and the issues that people are building data centers on Iceland and, in Antarctica, or I don't know where they're building them, but they're building them on ice basically to keep the cooling down. And the energy cost of cooling data centers is it's like eating up the energy of the planet. Yeah. They're putting them everywhere. How cold is it in outer space?
See, this is the interesting part. One side of the satellite is facing the sun,
so
and
it's literally
hot. It's hot. But then on the back side of that same one, it's cold, like really cold, because now there's no sun hitting it. And so from an engineering part, I'm really having fun talking to the engineers and how you figuring this out, and what trade secret do you have here? How you doing that? It's pretty, I'm like a little kid. This is cool. Like, I really love hanging out with these rocket scientists. I literally am a little starstruck when I go into the office. I'm like, man, this is like history, guys. Like, they were really doing all this crazy stuff. So I'm just excited and honored to be able to sit at the table with these guys and say, okay, on healthcare, this is how I see it. On the AI side, this is what we can do. And I love teaching them different AI hacks and things to do more efficiency or think outside the box in a different way. So I'm literally having so much fun.
That's really cool. I mean, like the data center where you got the sun side, it's hot, the back side, it's cool. Obviously, you'd probably put up an energy source on the hot side, right, to get solar energy, right? And so it becomes that's really cool.
I'm learning so much.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask you about your TED Talks. You've done 5 TED Talks. And what was your, I know I haven't watched your TED Talks, but I'll put all 5 of them in the description so people can watch them.
Thank you.
But what's the most recent one that you did?
The most recent one was ironically using the satellites for healthcare. And the big picture is I start with a woman who's basically having trouble with her health, but she's in the middle of Texas where there's no cell phone coverage. And then I basically introduced the concept of where you live should not determine if you live. And basically we talk about how that healthcare could relate to a satellite. The satellite's actually talking to a human, and that human is telling that patient, hey, come into the emergency room. And because it caught it early through the wearables and that network effect, they were able to get help, and as a result didn't die. So it's kind of like that.
Have you ventured into developing your own wearables, or are you using other people's products?
I'm using other people's products. Hardware department is really tough to make money. You don't make money on the hardware. You make money on the software. You make money on the subscription. And so, and the problem is I make the widget today, but then something else comes out 2 months later, and I'm like, man, I'm sitting on 1 million of this inventory. Now what do I do?
It's really risky for sure. You would need a manufacturing and production system that is wicked fast and can change on the fly and that kind of stuff. That's a huge investment. So yeah, I can see why that would not be something.
And then there's patent issues and IP stuff, and it's like, okay, you can't do this because technically they own a patent, so it becomes a pain.
Yeah, you're doing all this stuff. You're still practicing medicine? Do you still work?
I do telemedicine. Yeah, I do a little. I don't go to the ER anymore. Telemedicine, just so that I can continue. I love medicine. I love helping people. But my heart now is really, how can I help the planet? How can I not just help one person, but how can I help a population or global to make a difference? So that's where I feel so blessed that I'm literally sitting with these guys to say, hey, we can do this. You have this. Let's create this. Why can't we do this?
What
So
does a normal day look like for you?
Oh, it's all over the place. It depends what's needed. Because I'm able to put on the different hats, I've been able to take advantage. Example,
Yeah.
we were going over um, let me give a good example. We were going over some marketing, and I can go through and say, oh, wait, we don't have to do it this way. I can create an AI agent. Let's put this agent to help us with the video, the prompting, the message. Here we go.
Right.
And then
So you're
simultaneously,
doing marketing stuff. You're doing some
marketing
stuff with
stuff just
marketing.
to kind of, I'm helping. My goal is to help every individual in the company how to make their job more efficient. And so for
Got it.
marketing, I helped them with that. With the HR, I was like, hey, for HR, we should build X, Y, Z for the company, and this wouldn't break the bank, but then it would make it, that part of the department more efficient. And so it just
Right.
varies on the day what's needed. And then they were looking at some platforms in the future, and I'm like, well, I think these are the things that we could do. And it's like, man, I love this idea. Let's go ahead and patent this. And so I'm like, okay. So it just kind of depends.
Yeah, that's actually what I enjoy most about my company, is because I'm kind of on the front end looking for new opportunities. If you stick me in the bureaucratic role, managerial role, I want to kill myself. So throw me out on the front end. Let me try and figure out like new technologies or new ways to do things. So I think we're probably a lot alike. That's what I get my, that's where I get my energy from, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love doing things. I love I tell the CEO all the time, just throw me whatever problem you have and let me think it through, and I'll
let me
give
figure
you
it
a
out.
solution. Yeah. I
love
love
it.
And then, so people don't think I'm drinking alcohol. This is a water. I put it in here, and then I hit a button that hydrolyzes the water, and then it becomes like just actual fun waters.
I don't think anybody's thinking you're drinking alcohol, but thank you for letting us know. Okay. We brought on Dr. Castro, the alcoholic, who's going to continue to drink
Don't
alcohol.
mind my shakes.
No. We're I love it. You're not an alcoholic. You're drinking water.
No.
Okay, we got that. So, because we've talked about like rockets and satellites, infrastructure. We talked about ChatGPT. We talked about predictive and kind of like proactive healthcare. If we narrow this down into dentistry, and it was just kind of hard to do, I can give you an example. I'll use the clinical diagnostics example, the X-ray example for this, but I have a question about dentistry. So in dentistry, there's tons and tons of, this is all across the planet, but there's tons of stuff that are being developed, tons of AI products and services. One of these is that the X-ray diagnostic analytics. Pearl AI does it. Overjet does it. Great products to help recognize caries. So as these products are being developed and they're being kind of like injected into dentistry, it's definitely a disruption for how practices are run and how they do things internally. And that disruption is often very, very difficult to implement and be willing to, allow those technologies into the way that you do business. So my question is this: you're on the super front end of all of this stuff, like way on the front end. And I want you to kind of like talk to the dentists or the dental team members that are listening to this, and from your medical hat / AI hat / futuristic hat, what would you tell a dentist or a dental team member to, how would you have them approach AI and new technology in terms of changing the way that dentistry should be run? Like, some of the big concerns are, well, I'll give you a little bit more description of this so you can kind of narrow in on it. When I go out and speak and I talk to dentists about implementing an AI infrastructure or a piece of software or whatever it might be, I get a ton of resistance. Okay. The resistance comes not always from the dentist, but it comes a lot from the team members. Okay. Because a lot of the stuff that I might be mentioning are tasks that those dental team members do every day as part of their job, which can be automated. Okay. So there's just a fundamental fear and anxiety of using new technology in the office because it changes their job description. And a lot of people think that they're losing their jobs, right? Or that there's a threat to that. So big picture, kind of looking at that issue, what would you tell a dental practice on how to approach AI or the influence of disruptive technologies in the dental industry? How would you tell them to approach it or whatnot?
A good question. So that's a hard question to answer, but here's my stab at it. There's something called Martek's law. Martek's law is pretty simple. Think of technology as a hockey stick. It's going up, it's changing quickly. Think of organizations, in this example, dentistry, and you and I working for the dentist, as a logarithmic line. Now, when the technology shifts so much fast, like almost a straight line like AI is right now, and we're staying stagnant, we're creating a gap. And when that gap becomes really big, a disruption happens. Why am I saying it? Because another dental office that is now above us in the sense that they're creating so much change that they're closer to the hockey puck line, there's very little gap. That between them and us, there's a gap. So what's going to happen? That means that organization is either going to buy us out or they're going to take all our customers. Why am I going over all this? If we don't adapt, if we don't change, someone else is going to change and they're going to disrupt us. And we will lose our job, not because of the AI, but indirectly they're using the AI and they're becoming more efficient. And now we're not. And so what I'm saying is what's got to change? The culture. What needs to happen? What I would introduce is we need to educate our dental workers and healthcare team, dental team, and say, hey, this is how we need to do dentistry now. And we were trained to do it this way. But if we keep doing it this way, we're going to be disrupted. If we want to keep our jobs, we need a shift. And that is the next part that I want to say is I call it the great shift. Today I practice this way. Because of AI, I'm going to have to shift. And now I'm going to have to practice this way. And if we don't learn how to shift, we'll be out.
Right. The early adopter advantage is very well known in economics and business. And I think this hockey puck kind of curve is the way you're describing it. Here's what I'm thinking to give it a little more context. If somebody gets started adopting new technologies, the hockey stick on productivity is a curve. It's a hyperbolic curve. And if your competitors are trying to adopt these new technologies, they follow that curve, right, more closely. But what happens is the difference between where you're at and where they're at here in the beginning is like this, but right here it's like that. Because the productivity goes up significantly. And it's really, really, really hard to catch up. Really difficult to catch up. So is that fair? Is that following? Is that squaring up with what you're talking about? So it's like if you're unwilling to change now, it's going to be more difficult to change down the road, for sure.
Yeah.
So
let me give you a quick example. Everyone listening right now, think of the day you've heard of AI the first time. Think of your thoughts and how you use AI. And then take a second and then think, how do you use it today? Is it exactly the same? Has it changed? And the answer is it probably has changed. And you are seeing it differently. You're accepting it differently. No difference from what you just said.
Yeah. And I think that, I see this in my own company. I mean, I'm in marketing. Like marketing is like dead ass center and freaking crosshairs on the foreheads of everybody in marketing with AI, because you can do so much content creation, creativity, coming up with ideas with AI that, we have been fundamentally flipping on our head for the last 3 years since ChatGPT kind of came out on how we deliver our services. Because if we don't, some guy in his underwear living in his mom's basement, who's a really great coder, is going to be able to start developing content using artificial intelligence. You have to keep up with the scalability of it, right? Not that you should buy marketing services from a 40-year-old guy in his underwear living in his mother's apartment, right? But if you can't compete, you're gone, and we're moving so fast in every industry. It's just crazy. So you're just asking them to be open and at least a little bit malleable in addressing how AI might influence the way that they do their workflows and provide their services.
Yes. And biasly, I'm going to say follow people so that you see what's coming, what they're doing, how they think outside the box. Obviously, I'm going to say follow me because I'm posting always like different hacks and how you can look at AI and what you can do and how you can be more efficient. So I think it's important to keep up.
What's the best way to follow you? Instagram, TikTok?
Honestly, I did everything the same. It's Harvey Castro, MD, and I live on LinkedIn, but I'm on all the platforms. So anything you're on, just type in Harvey Castro, MD. That's my tag on all the medias, all the social medias.
Okay. We'll put your links in the description so that people can go and click through and follow you. But I really appreciate it, Harvey. This is fantastic.
Thank you.
So different than any of my other presentations. Like, you're super interesting, and this is great. So I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your thoughts about AI and the future of like medicine. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate you, and we're going to hang out in the UK.
Yeah, we will. I'll buy you a drink.
Cool. Sounds good.
Thanks for listening to Byte Size Podcast. Tune in to stay up to date with everything dental AI and tech